you want to know the truth, it was almost longer.
Oh?
She's a name that defined an era, one of Hollywood's brightest stars, the voice behind some of the most beloved musicals, and the mother everyone wished they had on screen. Shirley Jones has captivated audiences for decades, but now, at 92, her life looks very different from the glittering spotlight she once knew. Join us as we explore the life of Shirley Jones, the highs, the struggles, and how one of Hollywood's most cherished voices lives now. Smalltown starlet. Shirley Jones was born in 1934 during the hardest years of the Great Depression. Her hometown of Charleroi, Pennsylvania, was a small place where people tried to stay hopeful, even when money was short and work was uncertain. Many families lived with fear and worry, and Shirley's family was no different. Still, her parents, Marjorie and Paul, built a home filled with order, kindness, and a strong Methodist faith. Church was an important part of their lives, not only as a place of worship, but also as a place of comfort during difficult times. Every week, the sound of hymns and the feeling of community filled their home with something steady when the world felt unsure. Music quickly became a central part of Shirley's childhood. From a very young age, she showed a natural ability that surprised everyone around her. When she was only 6 years old, she sang in church for the first time. People turned their heads because her voice was clear and confident in a way no one expected from such a small child. It wasn't loud or dramatic, it was simply true, and it touched people. That moment was the beginning of her community noticing that this little girl had something unusual and special. Shirley's parents recognized her talent early, and they took it seriously. Even though money was tight, they made sacrifices to support her growing gift. They took long bus rides to Pittsburgh so she could receive proper vocal training. These trips were tiring and time-consuming, but they believed their daughter deserved the chance to grow. Her teacher, Ralph Lewandowski, immediately saw the potential in her voice. He didn't just think she was good, he believed she could become truly exceptional. His encouragement strengthened the faith her parents already had. There was also a small but meaningful detail about her name. Shirley was named after Shirley Temple, who was one of the most beloved child stars of the 1930s. Her parents admired Temple's talent and charm, and in their own quiet way, they hoped their daughter might carry a bit of that same light. Over time, it felt as if her name had predicted the path she would take. With her early gifts, her parents' dedication, and her own natural confidence, Shirley Jones seemed prepared for something far bigger than her hometown. And soon, she would take a step that changed her life forever. New York gamble. At 18, Shirley Jones left Charleroi with only $100 in her pocket and a promise to her parents. If nothing changed after a year, she would return home and study veterinary science. That small sum was all she had for travel, rent, food, and the cost of auditions in New York. The move was brave and hard. New York was crowded, loud, and full of people chasing the same dream. For the first time, Shirley faced the real cost of trying to make it in show business. Auditions came quickly and without warning. She learned to wait in long lines, to sing for strangers, and to show up early for meetings that might last only a few minutes. Not every audition led to a callback. Many brought rejection. Those rejections were not just about talent, they could be about looks, timing, the needs of a specific production, or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Shirley learned to keep her voice steady and her hope steady even when the answers were no. Life in the city was not easy. Housing was small and often shared with other young actors. Money disappeared fast. Meals were simple. Days began early and ended late. She kept a close watch on every dollar. Beyond the money, there was a hard quiet that came at night. The city could feel lonely. Friends would move away or get work in another town. Colleagues could be kind one day and distant the next. For a young woman from a small hometown, the scale and speed of New York could be a shock. Then came a moment that changed everything. Shirley auditioned for the musical theater team of Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein II. These men were giants in musical theater, and their work shaped the careers of many performers. When Shirley sang for them, they were impressed in a way that went beyond the usual audition. They offered her a personal contract, an exceptional appointment that showed real belief in her talent. This contract meant professional backing and a direct path into major work. It also erased the condition of her promise back home. Shirley's one-year plan to return was no longer the only possibility. The contract opened doors, and Shirley soon moved from hopeful newcomer to lead performer. Her life was changing faster than she had imagined. Next, she would step onto a film set that would make her a household name. Hollywood breakthrough. Shirley Jones's rise from a small-town teenager to a Hollywood star happened quickly once she signed with Rodgers and Hammerstein. They chose her for the film version of Oklahoma. Even though she had never worked in a movie before, it was a major opportunity and a major risk. The film was expected to be one of the biggest musicals of its time, so every role mattered. Shirley was cast as Laurie, the gentle farm girl whose goodness anchors the story. Her voice was strong, her presence was warm, and she had a calm honesty that fit the character. Even so, she felt the weight of joining an industry where expectations were high and mistakes were easily judged. One unexpected challenge came early. Frank Sinatra was originally cast as Curly, the male lead. His sudden departure from the project caused concern throughout the production. It created pressure for everyone, especially Shirley, who was already facing the demands of her first major film. Gordon MacRae stepped in as Sinatra's replacement. He and Shirley had an instant musical connection, which helped stabilize the film and support her performance. Still, the pressure did not fully lift. The studio, the audience, and the cast all knew this movie had to succeed. When Oklahoma finally reached theaters, audiences responded strongly to Shirley. There was something straightforward and genuine about her. She did not appear to be acting for attention. Her voice and expressions came across as natural, and people connected with her sincerity. The film became the highest-grossing movie of the year, and Shirley found herself suddenly recognized wherever she went. Her small-town background made the change feel almost unreal, but she handled it with quiet professionalism. Shirley's next roles continued to build her image as America's pure young woman. In Carousel, she played Julie Jordan, a character with deeper emotional struggles. Shirley brought softness and empathy to the part, showing that she could communicate heartbreak as well as sweetness. Her performance proved she was more than a pleasant face. She understood emotional storytelling. Then came April Love, which strengthened her wholesome reputation even more. Audiences saw her as a symbol of innocence, something Hollywood valued in the 1950s. This image helped her career, but also limited her. It created expectations that she was always gentle, always kind, and always bright, even though she had the ability to play more complex characters. Soon, she would be given a chance to show a very different side of herself. From angel to rebel. Shirley Jones shocked audiences when she left the world of musicals and sweetness to play Lulu Baines in Elmer Gantry. The role was nothing like the farm girls and gentle mothers she had played. Lulu is a woman who has been used and hurt, who turns between faith and desire. For Shirley, taking that part was a big choice. It asked her to show anger, bitterness, and complicated pain. It asked her to strip away the easy charm that had defined her public image and go somewhere much darker. Filming Elmer Gantry was demanding in ways Shirley had not faced before. The scenes required raw emotion and long, intense takes. She had to enter moments that were painful and stay there while the cameras rolled. That kind of work can wear a person down. She spent time learning how to make small, honest choices that would read on film. Directors and co-stars pushed for realism, and Shirley answered by giving everything she had. The result was a performance that felt immediate and true. Viewers and critics noticed that she had stepped into a role that required bravery, Her work in Elmer Gantry was recognized at the highest level. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. The win brought acclaim and new respect. It proved she could handle serious drama and not be boxed into one type of role. Awards opened doors to different kinds of work and showed casting directors that she had range. But that recognition also came with a cost. Playing such an intense role meant that Shirley carried tough feelings home. The public had long seen her as a symbol of innocence. After Elmer Gantry, the contrast between her screen persona and the character she played made some fans confused. Shirley had to live with that split between who the audience expected and who she wanted to be as an artist. The 1960s became a time of reinvention for Shirley. She took part in The Music Man, which let her keep singing while showing new depth. In Bedtime Story, she worked alongside big stars and shaped a more playful side of her craft. Two Rode Together put her in a different kind of dramatic story again. Each film asked for something different. Together, these roles helped build a career that could move between musicals, comedies, and dramas. Shirley showed producers and audiences that she could change shape as a performer. One clear moment in her career came when she turned down the role of Carol Brady in The Brady Bunch. The show would become a huge hit, and saying no looked risky to many people at the time. Shirley said she passed on it because the role had little music. For an actress known for song and stage, that mattered. Turning down the part showed she had priorities beyond fame. It also meant she kept control over the path of her career, choosing work that matched her strengths and values. Shirley's choices in the 1960s proved she would not be limited by any single image, and that willingness to change set the stage for the next chapters in her life and work. Next, we'll look at how television fame changed the shape of her public life. TV fame chaos. When The Partridge Family came along in 1970, Shirley Jones was already an established film actress. She chose to step into television at a time when many film stars avoided it. For Shirley, the decision was simple and practical. She wanted steady work that kept her close to home so she could raise her children. The show offered a stable schedule and the chance to work in one place rather than traveling from set to set. It also allowed her to sing again, which mattered to her. Playing Shirley Partridge, a widowed mother who starts a family band with her children, felt like a natural extension of her own warm and steady personality. Life on set quickly developed its own rhythm. The show mixed order with a kind of playful disorder. Danny Bonaduce, who played her red-haired younger son, brought endless energy and mischief. At just 10 years old, he became known for improvising, joking, and testing the patience of adults around him. Shirley often stepped in to comfort him or to calm situations, and Danny later said she was one of the few stable people in his young life. Susan Day, who played Laurie, was quiet, thoughtful, and more sensitive than many people realized. She admired Shirley deeply, looking to her for guidance and reassurance. The two formed a bond that gave Susan a sense of safety in the noisy world of a hit television show. Shirley handled each child actor differently, balancing discipline with gentle encouragement. A unique part of the experience was working with her real-life stepson, David Cassidy. He became the breakout star of the series almost overnight. While playing her on-screen son, he was also the young man she was helping raise at home. This overlap made the experience emotional and sometimes complicated. At work, they played mother and son. At home, they were family, but with the added layers of fame and teenage pressures. Shirley often protected David from the intense attention he received from fans, especially when the show made him one of the most recognized young performers in the world. Behind the image of the perfect TV mom, Shirley felt a real emotional cost. Audiences saw her as endlessly patient and cheerful. But living up to that image was draining. The long filming days, the responsibility of guiding young actors, and the pressure to appear calm at all times took a quiet toll. She later said she sometimes felt lonely, even while surrounded by people, because she had to stay strong for everyone else. When the show ended in 1974, it left a surprising emptiness. The cast had spent years together, forming a bond that felt like a family. Yet when filming stopped, everyone moved on to their separate lives. The sudden silence felt strange to Shirley. She had cared for these young performers almost like her own children, and losing that daily connection was painful. It was the ending of a family that was never fully real, but had felt real for a long time. After the show, Shirley faced new challenges and a new chapter that would test her strength in even deeper ways. Silent power. After the Partridge Family ended, Shirley Jones faced a career crossroads. Television and film were changing, and audiences wanted stories that felt real. Shirley embraced roles that allowed her to explore serious, sometimes painful subjects. She appeared in movies and television projects that dealt with addiction, domestic struggle, and personal loss. These roles were very different from the innocent, wholesome characters that had defined her early career. Instead of playing the cheerful farm girl or the ideal mother, Shirley took on characters who faced hardship, moral dilemmas, and emotional complexity. Her performances reflected honesty and depth, and critics began to notice her versatility once again. One of the highlights of this period was the NBC miniseries Shirley, which aired from 1979 to 1980. In it, Shirley played a widow moving to a small town with her children to rebuild her life. The story mirrored many aspects of her own personal experience. Audiences could sense that Shirley brought her own understanding of loss, endurance, and rebuilding into the role. Her performance felt lived in and genuine. The series lasted only one season, but it highlighted Shirley's ability to connect with viewers on a personal level, proving that she could carry a story that was emotional, realistic, and nuanced. During these years, Shirley was also balancing the responsibilities of motherhood. She had raised 3 sons with Jack Cassidy and had been a stepmother to David Cassidy. After Jack's death, she was raising her children largely on her own, filming long days, memorizing lines, and performing demanding scenes required careful planning, especially while keeping her household running. Shirley remained committed to providing stability, support, and guidance to her children, even when her own personal life was complicated. Her private life during the 1970s and 1980s was marked by a turbulent relationship with her ex-husband, Jack Cassidy, before he died in 1976, and the challenges of managing her family while pursuing demanding roles. Despite all this, Shirley kept her public image free from scandal. She never used personal drama to promote her career. Instead, she focused on her work and her family. This quiet dedication became a hallmark of her professional life. Unlike many celebrities of the time, Shirley never sought attention through gossip or controversy. She built a career based on consistency, integrity, and emotional authenticity. Through these decades, Shirley Jones demonstrated that strength does not always need spectacle. She showed that an artist could evolve, take on difficult subjects, and maintain personal dignity while navigating both career and family responsibilities. Her work in the 1970s and 1980s set the stage for later accomplishments and reflected a deep commitment to her craft, her children, and herself. Next, Shirley's personal life would face one of its greatest trials, testing her endurance and courage in ways no role ever could. Love and fire. Jack Cassidy was a man of enormous charm and talent. He had a magnetic presence that drew people to him and a skill for performance that matched Shirley's own. He could light up a room with wit and energy, and on stage, he was confident, brilliant, and captivating. But behind the curtain, Jack's life was complicated. He struggled with bipolar disorder, which caused extreme highs and devastating lows. His moods could shift without warning, leaving those around him uncertain of what to expect. At times, he was the perfect husband, witty, loving, and attentive. At other times, he became volatile, cruel, and difficult to live with. Shirley endured these extremes quietly. She witnessed Jack's affairs with men and women, his relentless need for attention, and the manipulation that often came with his charm. Yet she rarely confronted him publicly. She stayed silent, choosing to protect her children and maintain a sense of family stability. It was a life of constant vigilance, where Shirley had to anticipate Jack's moods, manage conflicts, and shield her sons from emotional harm. Her love for her children and her belief in her own moral standards kept her grounded through personally exhausting years. Raising 4 boys during this period added layers of responsibility. Sean, Patrick, and Ryan were Shirley's children with Jack, while David Cassidy, Jack's son from a previous marriage, was also part of the household. Shirley took on the role of caregiver, disciplinarian, and emotional anchor for all 4 boys. Despite the chaos at home, she remained present, nurturing, and supportive. She juggled school routines, household management, and the complex emotional needs of her children, often at the expense of her own well-being. Eventually, Shirley made the difficult decision to divorce Jack in 1975. This was not an easy choice, but it was necessary for her survival. The marriage had become unbearable, and she knew she could no longer endure the constant emotional turbulence. Divorce gave her space to breathe and reclaim control over her life. It marked the end of one chapter, but not the end of emotional pain. Tragedy struck shortly after, when Jack died in a fire at his West Hollywood apartment in December 1976. He had fallen asleep while smoking, and the fire consumed the building. Shirley collapsed upon hearing the news. Despite their divorce, she had never stopped loving him. She later wrote in her memoir, "He was the love of my life." His presence lingered in her household and in the hearts of their sons, particularly David, whose own struggles reflected some of the patterns he had witnessed with his father. Shirley's life after Jack became a story of endurance, strength, and quiet recovery. Soon, a new chapter of love entered her life, one very different from the storms of her past. Unexpected second love. After the long shadow of Jack Cassidy, Shirley Jones met Marty Ingalls in the early 1970s. Marty was loud, energetic, and persistent in a way that immediately stood out. Unlike Jack, he did not carry the same darkness or need for constant validation. He was honest about who he was and what he wanted. He called Shirley daily, sent flowers, and left messages that were simple but sincere. He didn't try to charm her with illusions or pretense. Instead, he offered straightforward affection, which Shirley had not experienced for a long time. Marty's chaotic charm was different from Jack's volatility. He could be impulsive, quick to anger, and sometimes difficult to understand. But there was no malice, no manipulation, and no betrayals hidden behind charm. Shirley recognized early that he was the kind of man who could love her without expecting her to perform for him. That honesty created a safe space for her heart. She gradually let down the walls she had built over decades of pain and learned to laugh again. Their marriage, which began in 1977, was far from perfect. They argued loudly and often. Marty could be temperamental and jealous, and Shirley was unafraid to voice her own frustrations. Yet the conflicts were human, real, and contained no destruction. They reconciled, moved forward, and built a life together, grounded in truth and companionship. Shirley had spent years managing the storms of Jack's personality, and with Marty, she finally experienced love that was mutual and sustaining. Their home was filled with laughter, conversation, and music. Marty encouraged Shirley to embrace joy and to reclaim her own identity, no longer defined solely by her career or the hardships of the past. Their life together lasted for decades, a testament to an enduring partnership. They had no children together, but Shirley's household remained vibrant with family, friends, and the echoes of creativity. Marty's presence allowed Shirley to experience love in a form that was gentle, supportive, and profoundly healing. When Marty passed away in 2015 at the age of 79, Shirley faced another profound loss. She described the emptiness as a quiet void, a companion lost after decades of shared life. His absence reminded her of how deeply he had reshaped her understanding of love and happiness. Even after decades of fame, heartbreak, and resilience, Shirley had finally found a version of life built on companionship, laughter, and trust. Next, we'll see how Shirley returned to the stage at 70, proving her passion and skill had never faded. Truths revealed. In 2004, Shirley Jones made a remarkable return to Broadway in the musical 42nd Street at the age of 70. Audiences expected a seasoned performer, but few anticipated the energy and skill she brought to the stage. Not only did she act and sing, but she also performed every tap dance routine herself. There were no body doubles, no concessions for age. Sharing the stage with her son, Patrick Cassidy, added a historic dimension. It was the first time in Broadway history that a mother and son starred in the same production together. Their chemistry and dedication were evident in every number, and the audience responded with a standing ovation that felt like a celebration of both her career and her enduring talent. Critics praised her stamina, precision, and stage presence, noting that Shirley's performance was a testament to decades of discipline, passion, and love for her craft. Nearly a decade later, in 2013, Shirley revealed another side of herself to the public with her memoir, Shirley Jones. For the first time, she shared long-hidden truths about her life, particularly her marriage to Jack Cassidy. She spoke candidly about Jack's bisexuality, his infidelity, and his struggles with addiction, realities that shaped her private world in ways few could imagine. Shirley explained that she had waited so long to tell these stories because she did not want to exploit her family or the memories of her children. Her memoir allowed the public to finally meet the real Shirley, a woman who had endured heartbreak, chaos, and loss while maintaining her dignity and devotion to her craft. The honesty and courage of the book struck readers deeply, revealing the human being behind the polished Hollywood image. Through Broadway and the pages of her memoir, Shirley reminded the world that talent, endurance, and truth could coexist. Next, we'll see how Shirley's story continues into her 90s, living quietly yet fully in the world she helped shape. Life in silence. In 2024, Shirley Jones was honored in ways that celebrated both her career and her enduring influence. The Pittsburgh CLO, where her stage dreams first began, hosted a gala tribute at the Byham Theater. Young performers recreated iconic numbers from Oklahoma, Carousel, and The Music Man, while Shirley sat among the audience, smiling quietly. Later that year, she traveled to London to attend a Broadway classic celebration at Indigo at the O2. The audience rose to their feet when her voice filled the room, a moment that showed just how deeply she remained cherished. These tributes were beautiful, but also bittersweet, honoring a living legend while reminding everyone that time moves forward. Today, Shirley lives a quiet life in California. She rarely makes public appearances, preferring privacy over the spotlight. Her sons visit often, bringing warmth and conversation into a home filled with memories of her two husbands, marked by fire, won by laughter. Shirley has outlived nearly all her peers, and many of her co-stars are gone, leaving her with a quieter, smaller world. Yet in this solitude, she demonstrates resilience and a gentle acceptance of life's later stages. She spends her days surrounded by the achievements, joys, and sorrows that shaped her life, moving with calm dignity and quiet strength. Fans often feel a pang of heartbreak when they think of Shirley now. The woman who once brought the world joy through song and screen now lives mostly in silence, with only small moments of light to fill her days. Shirley Jones's life is a story of talent, resilience, love, and quiet strength. From a small Pennsylvania town to Broadway, Hollywood, and the hearts of millions, she has lived a life full of highs, lows, and unforgettable moments. Even now, at 92, she continues to inspire with her grace, dedication, and the simple joy she finds in family and music. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss more